Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 27th. Hey, Christmas is past. We hope you guys had a great one. We're starting to look towards the new year. And, folks, we appreciate everything that you do, but we really appreciate the guys that give us the information. Our usual crowd's going to be here to help you catch a few more fish, and that is Tom, Lee, Gentry, and Tracy. We'll be right back with what these guys have to say. Hey, Christmas is come and gone. The big man in the sleigh has flown the coop. He's back in the North Pole, and we're now looking at 2026. And to help bring us into that new year with some frozen popsicle bass all over the place, and some crappie and some striper, we're going to talk to Tom Ott about Lake Guntersville. Tom, what's happening up there on the big lake as we start to roll that calendar?
Well, I tell you guys, we had one giant event last weekend, right before the Christmas holiday, and that was the winter solstice. So now the days are getting longer, and if you know what that means, the bass time has started. So I mean, it might not happen today or tomorrow, but it's coming. Those days are starting to get longer, and as well as I do, it's not so much the temperature; it's just the length of the day. So those bass are just going to slowly start getting more and more active as we head towards spring. And this is going to be our best, my best time of the year. I think between January and March is just the time when you catch the biggest fish. I'm telling you guys, and they've been really active. We haven't had that real long cold snap. I think it's probably going to come, but until it does, it's time to get out there and just whack on some bass. Because I mean, daggone, they're going crazy, and it's a good time. The weather's been nice for us fishermen. The water's still a little chilly, so you still catch those crappies, still catch those bass. The stripes. I think you go catfishing if you wanted to, just catch all you wanted, but. It's just a great time right now, and it's why I love the South for sure.
All right, we saw some pictures on your Instagram page of a big mess of crappie, and we'll have Blake put the picture up here in the video. Tell us how you caught them.
Man, I tell you, I've just been chasing bait, with a little Bobby Garland. Of course, I'll say the color, it's monkey milk. Everybody loves monkey milk color in Bobby Garland, but just a 1/16 jig head, and really just seeing those groups of crappie, flicking it out there, and just a slow roll over their head, and if you're not looking on the forward facing sonar, not everybody's got that. It's just a matter of counting down. So, I usually start with a count of seven, 6 or 7, and then I just kind of keep changing that count. And what I mean by that is you want to count it down, and you just want to reel it slow enough to get that bait to go at a horizontal level. So that's the biggest key. They don't want it jumping, they don't want it moving, they just want it nice and slow over their head, and that's where they come up and eat. And it's just been fantastic this year. I get a little giddy when I talk about Guntersville crappie this time of the year. So
Well, I bet you had a great little fish fry for St. Jennifer there, or you're going to have one soon. Tom, as always, we appreciate everything, brother. Thanks for all that you do, and we look forward to talking to you in 2026. Hey, folks, we hope you had a wonderful Christmas with your family and friends, and that you got to spend a little time going fishing. Lee Pitts, as we start to roll into this new year, is going to help us figure out how to still put some fish in the boat at Neely Henry and on Weiss Lake. Lee, break in the new year here for us. What's going on Neely Henry?
It's that time. Hey, it's deer season's kind of coming to a close. Everybody's had their fill of it, so it's time to get back on that water right now. The water temperature is it's right. We had some mild weather last week, so the fish have been on the move. They're feeding, and it's one of those things where they're where they're supposed to be this time of year. Once again, they're out there on some of that deeper brush, the deeper stumps out on the river. I'm talking crappie wise right now because this time of year. The crappie what makes my wheels go round. So we're going to talk about those crappie a little bit. It's you can catch them casting a jig on them, still live bait fishing too. If you just like to throw a float out there and just watch it, it's one of those things that you can get and catch them still different ways. They're not moving into the shallows quite yet. If you can find some of that shallower brush that's in that 6, 8 foot of water, that that there's still some fish in it. But most of them are out there on the creek ledges. the stumps, the standing timber, things like that. I know that the water at Neely has come up a little bit. So for the bass bite, they're up in that shallow brush. Um, Sunny days, a little bit of wind, spinnerbait, chatterbait. Still, you can toss that small jig up in there, and I love to throw a little crankbait, something with a little tight wiggle this time of year, and just get out there and just let it just kind of bounce off those rocks and find that deeper riprap or around the bridges, and you can catch them doing that way.
All right, Weiss Lake, we got about a minute left. Tell me what's going on.
Weiss is fishing pretty good right now, and we're catching not only the crappie are turning on, the bass are still biting real good, but also striped bass. Follow the birds, watch the birds that are diving on minnows, and you can catch some stripe underneath it. Jerkbait bite's been good. I know a lot of guys in some of that deeper stuff are throwing a fluke out there and just hitting it hard 3 or 4 times and just killing it.
Hmm.
Especially if you got some birds diving, they're catching them that way. That slow fall fish are just out there picking it up. The crappie, once again, in that little bit of deeper water, they're starting to really school up more. You can find them not holding on any structure, just kind of out there suspended. uh, the other day I went out and I was in 18, 20 foot of water, and the fish are holding about 12 foot, but they're starting to school up. So put a little long lining on them. I'm moving around, kind of dragging through them, just following the bait balls, following the fish, and catching some of them doing that now.
Brother, we appreciate everything, all the help that you give us. Have a great new year, and we'll talk to you again soon. Hey, folks, we hope you had a wonderful Christmas. We know we did with our family and friends. Now we're going to unwrap a little bit of extra special stuff here, getting ready to go into the new year because that's right around the corner. 2026 is. Of course, we're talking about fishing with Gentry Gordy. We're going to talk a little bit of Lake Martin and Jordan Lake. And Gentry, this is the time of the year. Water's getting colder. You might want to start looking at jerk baits, Alabama rigs, maybe even a deep jig. I mean, what are you hearing coming out of Lake Martin and Jordan?
Oh, dude, pingamena, pingamena, pingamena. That's all I've heard. And it's funny, but man, I mean, honestly, I talked to some guys. I've done it myself. At Martin, I said, dude, are the crappie? He said, man, you go out there in the mouths of all these creeks and you can, find the bait, follow it all the way back. He said he's catching stripers, spots, caught a few largemouth even at Martin doing it, and crappie. He said, man, I can feel the ball. He said, I can catch 20 bass, 50 crappie, and 10 stripers in one creek. And he said, it's not, he said, he went down to the Blue Creek Bridge, and just swam a little minnow by there, and it's just one after the other. He said, it's insane. And, and Jordan's the same way. If you look at that, I think the OGS was up there, Tucker Smith one that I saw. Dude, if you don't have 20 pounds, you're not even getting a check, and they're all up that river hanging a minnow.
Well, it is one of the techniques that's dominating. Going to be interesting to see how things develop over this year as the leagues kind of adjust. But any colors or anything you're seeing? Anything that might give somebody an advantage?
I mean, yeah, it's just shad colored minnows. I mean, and you'll get, especially, we've talked about it before. I mean, because you still catch fish on your jerk baits and your Alabama rig, but always, I may put a chartreuse shad, on the Alabama rig, when all of them are shad color, I may put like something chartreuse or electric chicken, something goofy on the back just to try to, get their eyesight up there. And of course, then it's lights out. But it's, at Jordan, anywhere up that river, man, it's unbelievable. And even in the canals, going over to the new lake, stuff like that. But, when you got a 520 spot and you don't win big fish, that just lets you know. I mean, they're just gorging on them shad.
Jiminy Christmas, that's a big fish right there.
Yep.
Well, brother, as always, we appreciate everything that you do. Thanks for what you do for the public down there. It's not an easy thing, and we appreciate it. We hope you have a great new year with the family, and we'll talk to you again next week. Hey, we hope you had a great Christmas. We got our favorite Christmas gift right here, wrapping everything up for the start of the new year. We got Tracy Robinson going to talk a little bit of Logan Martin and Lay Lake fishing. Tracy, what can we expect as we calendar turns to 2026?
Yeah, this week's been a good fishing week, Dano. We're right here in the middle of summer in December, and bait fish are really up high in the water column right now. And it's kind of pulled the bass and the crappie both up with it. Even those forward facing guys out there throwing the minnows, they're catching them up there really high in the water column, almost on the surface. Um, not really top water activity, anything like that, but the fish are really high in the water column on those fish that are out there wide. But at Logan right now, the more consistent bite's still up near the bank, around the rocks that we talk about all the time,
Yeah.
the chert rock, the red clay banks, your flat-sided crankbaits, those wooden crankbaits, your favorite, rock beaters there up on the bank is your best bet right now. A couple of the windier days, the middle of the week, there was a pretty good bite out there throwing the jerk bait on some of those longer tapering points. There was a lot of bait fish on them, and there was a lot of spots out there. You catch some pretty good fish out there on the long points with that jerk bait. That's died down a little bit as the water kind of got really calm there late in the week, and it's back to bouncing off of some type of structure. So that's kind of been the key on the bass. The crappie still in that 8 to 12 foot range on the brush piles. Main lake stuff, both on the bass and the crappie. It's not so much creek related right now, still out closer to the lake, but brush out there 8 to 12 foot with your jigs, casting the 16th, or if you get up there a little tighter to the bank on that main river brush, or even throwing under the dock for that 32nd ounce of weight on the docks.
Okay, let's turn to Lay Lake. Are we still looking at grass bite for bass? And I'm sure there's stuff out there on the timber.
Yeah, most of the tournaments, 20 pounds has been pretty consistent the past 2 weeks on the weights of the tournaments. And myself, everybody that I've talked to, has been a combination of both the grass bite and some of the offshore forward facing bite. But definitely need to check them both out. The temperatures kind of crept back up a little bit this week, and the fish weren't as buried up in some of that structure or the grass up there, so you were able to swim a jig a little bit more. But it looks like a little cold front next week's kind of coming in, so those fish will probably snug up a little bit more. You may have to punch some of that grass up there. You probably won't be able to get the bites you were on the swim jig. The forward facing fish out there, they're not going far, so that lower end of the lake, that Paint Creek end, the forward facing sonar with the minnow, first find the bait, and then you'll start seeing the bass pretty close by, and start throwing the Alabama rig or the minnows at those.
Well, brother, we appreciate everything. We will talk to you again next week, my friend. Well, that wraps up our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 27th. Hey, thanks to all that you do, folks. Appreciate, especially right now, that we're able to get a little bit of time and let our families be able to recoup and spend some time together. But we will be back soon. Everything will be open and cranked, getting ready to help you enjoy that fishing season and the upcoming boating season. We appreciate everything that you are. You are the best part of Bucks Island, and we thank you.